In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the isometric view of the tool holder. We're still in Chapter 7, Isometrics, and what we're ultimately going to be doing is having the isometric view right around here. So you can see I've already opened my tool holder drawing, that I already did the drawing itself in Chapter 4 and the dimensions in Chapter 5. And now we're going to move along. Even though the isometric is ultimately going to go right here, I'm actually going to draw it off to the side, just so I have a nice blank area to do it in. So the book wants me to set up the snap type to isometric, so I'm going to right click on the word grid, go to settings, change it from rectangular to isometric snap, and I also need to turn my ortho on. Anytime you're doing isometric, it is really important to just leave ortho on. You don't want to accidentally draw lines that are not at the right exact angle. So one step that the book does not have, and this is just something I like to do, so take it or leave it, I like to create a couple of new layers here. So I'm going to create a layer called construction, and I'm going to create a layer called isometric. I'll make my isometric red, and for some reason I like my construction lines to be yellow. I also like to load in a new line type called dot. For my construction lines, you can do whatever you want. It does not have to be dot. That's just my personal preference. So I'm going to set construction current, come back to this drawing, and step 1 wants me to create a box. This is just going to be a bounding box that is going to be 7 by 2.5 by 2 3/4. So I'll just start drawing a line here. I'm going to come straight up a distance of 2.75. Toggle with my F5 to get the cursor to be at the right angle here. So this is going to be 2.5, then down 2.75, and then back over here 2.5, and then I'm going to come over this way a distance of 7, up 2.75, back over 7, and you can either draw those lines from scratch or you could actually use your copy command. So once you've got each of those lines drawn, each length that you need, you can actually just copy what you need straight back. So that's totally up to you. Draw them from scratch or copy them, that's fine. So now that I've got my bounding box taken care of, I'm going to start constructing the actual object itself. So I'm going to set my isometric layer current and start drawing. So at step 2 it actually has a little picture below, but I do often refer back to the original sketch when I'm doing this. So I'm just going to start the line command, and I'm actually just going to draw a little box here. So this is the 2.50. I'm just going to snap from endpoint to endpoint there. I'm going to come back. This top plane is a distance of 3.5, and F5, I'll bring it back this way, 2.5. And then back, I could just do C for close if I wanted. So I've got the top plane right here. Now I need to figure out, I've got these little fillets on the corners, so I need to do the fillets, and unfortunately when you're in isometric, the fillet command does not work, which that's a total bummer because it's a cool command. But what we have to do is figure out where the centers of those fillets are, and then we have to do iso circles and trim them out. So I'm going to do my copy command. Once again, another command that does not work in isometric is offset, which is a total bummer. That's my favorite command. Anyway, so we're going to come over here. It says it's a radius of 0.5, so I'm going to copy this line 0.5, copy this 0.5. If you notice, I kind of exaggerate how far out I bring it. I just take it in the direction I want to go, but I don't want O snaps to show up and maybe override what I'm trying to do here, so I pull it way out of the way of O snaps when I do this. 0.5. We're going to come over here, 0.5. Now I've got the centers of all of these little iso circles I need to draw. So start the ellipse command, I for iso circle, that's going to be the center, and you can either type in 0.5 as your radius, or you can just snap to the endpoint, assuming you did it correctly the first time, your offsets or copies correctly. Alright, so I've got my little iso circles in there. I'm going to delete out those center lines, and now I'm actually going to come in here and trim, press enter, and I will just trim out these guys. So top's looking good. There's one more step that I need to do on this top plane, and that's to get this little cutout here. The way I do that cutout is I'll just draw a line straight from the midpoint, so snapping from the midpoint, and I'm going to go back a depth of 1.50. Then I will copy. That whole thing has that slot has a width of 1, so I'll copy 0.5 in either direction. 0.5 here, 0.5 there, and then I will just connect the dots. There to there. Delete this little guy out and trim that little piece. So my top surface is done. That looks good. I'm going to just take this whole thing and I'm going to copy it down. So I'm going to use my copy command. And I'm going to bring it straight down, and the distance here is going to be 1. I actually did not need to copy that whole thing, did I? Go erase out the stuff that I don't need that came in that copy. Don't need you guys, sorry. Trim that. Alright, there's one more little line that I need right there. I'm just going to copy one of my existing lines. So I'll just copy you right back there. Looking good. So now that I've got this taken care of, the only thing that's different, or that I need to take care of on this whole side here, is the fact that this line right here needs to be shorter. So I'm actually going to do my copy command, and I'm going to copy one of my construction lines over. Take that line and copy it this direction, and that distance is 2.75. So now I can trim to that line and just erase it out. So now that's the right length that it needs to be. I'm going to keep copying that same construction line to get the rest of the information that I need. So I'm going to copy it over once again, 3.25. And what that does for me is it lets me know that I'm going to take this line from here to the end point. Erase that one now, I don't need it. Copy one more time. 4. And what I'm going to do here is take a line now from here straight over to the end point. I'm going to come straight up, and it says that distance is 1, so that left side plane is a height of 1. And then I'm just going to snap it right here to the end point. I don't need that construction line anymore. If I can get it, there we go. Don't need that construction line anymore, so I've got this. And if you notice, I like to trim as I go. You guys can do what you want. For me, the less cluttered I can keep it, the more I can see the object, and I can feel sure that I'm doing this correctly. So I like to trim and erase as I go. I'm missing this line right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do my copy command, and I'll take this guy. He's already drawn. I like to just copy what I have. Trim this out so that looks good. I'm actually going to copy it one more time, and I'm going to use this as kind of a construction line here. So I'm going to do the copy command. I'll delete this out later because you don't actually see it, but it does help when you're drawing this object out. So starting from this top plane, this is how wide the actual that surface is right there. I'm actually going to draw one more line from the midpoint of this. I'm going to come straight out, and I know that it's 2.25 from that point to the circles and the arc that I need to draw. So it's 2.25 to the center, so I'll just make a construction line here that's 2.25. You could, even if you wanted to, change that to the construction layer just so you don't get too confused. I'm going to draw several isocircles. So I've got an ellipse, I for isocircle, straight from the end point here, F5 to get the isocircle that you need, and first one I'm going to do is a radius of 0.75. Once I've got that, I can actually draw a line from here. Shift right click, I'm going to go to tangent. One more time, tangent. I do not know why it won't take me to the tangent, see? That one took me to the tangent. If anything, I can maybe just mirror this thing over. Don't know why it won't give me tangent on that one side, but I'm not going to sweat it. I wonder if this will work. No! So from here to tangent. There we go. I don't know why. For some reason that tangent wasn't coming up for me. I don't even need this line anymore, and I can trim out that back line. Now that I've got this, and I can trim out this actually. Now that I've got this taken care of, I can actually copy that straight down. Ooh, my tangent, it just doesn't look right, does it? Draw a line straight from here down. Trim out that back. Erase these guys. I've got a couple more circles that I need to do, so I'm going to do my ellipse with an iso circle, starting at that same center point. This one has a diameter of 1.25. I'm going to copy that iso circle straight up. Make sure your ortho's on, and that has a depth of 0.25. I'm going to draw a line from here to here, here to here, and now I'm going to go trim out everything that I don't need. So trim, I've got one more iso circle to put in here, and that is the hole that goes all the way through it. So ellipse, I for iso circle, and this one has a diameter of 0.75, and that's it. I can go in here now and turn off the layer, my construction layer, and I've got this guy taken care of. I can do the move command, pick him up, turn off my ortho now, pick him up and move him into the little corner right here, and you've got your drawing taken care of. So that's how you do the isometric tool holder.